Hello everybody, welcome to Cold War series of CSS World. In this lecture, we will continue the story of Cold War and will study Truman Doctrine. So let's start this lecture now. First of all, an introduction to Truman Doctrine. Truman Doctrine is named after the former President of the United States, Harry S Truman. This doctrine is basically a speech which was delivered by Truman. He delivered this speech to Congress on March 12, 1947. This was the time when the world had been divided into two blocks as the end of World War II had given two superpowers to the world. One was the USSR and the other one was United States. USSR was promoting communism whereas United States was promoting the capitalism. So just after the end of World War II, these two superpowers came into an indirect confrontation. The speech of Harry S Truman was based on policy statement regarding the situation at that time. This speech became the Truman Doctrine. Historians have often cited Truman Doctrine as the official declaration of the Cold War. Now, what was the Truman Doctrine? The main point of the speech of Harry S. Truman was a military assistance and economic aid to Greece to fight against communism. Besides this, he openly announced that the United States will send military and economic support to the countries whose political stability was threatened by communism. So this was basically a first time when the United States openly announced its statement against the continuously spreading communism. This policy of Harry S. Truman faced some criticism from within the United States. US then Secretary of Commerce Henry Wallace disagreed with Truman and emphasized for improving the relationship between the USSR and the United States instead of going against the USSR. He considered Truman policy as an aggressive foreign policy. As a result, Wallace was sacked from his services. Background of Truman Doctrine. In February 1947, the British government informed the United States that it could no longer furnish the economic and military assistance it had been providing to Greece and Turkey since the end of World War II. The Truman administration believed that both nations were threatened by communism and it jumped at the chance to take a tough stance against the Soviet Union. In Greece, leftist forces had been battling the Greek royal government since the end of World War II. In Turkey, the Soviets were demanding some manner of control over the Dardanelles territory from which Turkey was able to dominate the strategic waterways from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. So this was a great chance for the United States to take responsibility of Greece and Turkey and eradicate the roots of communism from there. In his speech, Harry S. Truman said that Greece was threatened by the terrorist activities of several thousands armed men led by communists. It was incumbent upon the United States to support Greece so that it could become a self-supporting and self-respecting democracy. He also said in this speech that the freedom-loving people of Turkey also needed US aid, which was necessary for the maintenance of its national integrity. The president declared that it must be the policy of the United States to support free people who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressures. Truman requested $400 million in assistance for the two nations. Congress approved his request 2 months later. Conclusion. The Truman Doctrine was a de facto declaration of the Cold War. As the Cold War had been started 2 years earlier, and both the United States and USSR were not in an open confrontation against each other. Therefore, there is no any exact date or time which can be attributed as the start of Cold War. But still, the Truman Doctrine is said to a de facto declaration of Cold War, as it was the first and open declaration from US side against the communism. Besides this, Truman's address outlined the broad parameters of US Cold War foreign policy. The Soviet Union was the center of all communist activities and movements throughout the world. Communism could attack through outside invasion or internal subversion, and the United States needed to provide military and economic assistance to protect nations from communist aggression. So, the Truman Doctrine was basically a policy statement which revealed the US strategy towards the Cold War. So, this was all from today's lecture. The story of Cold War will be continued in the coming lecture. Thanks for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon for more videos. Goodbye.